The most valuable films that I've ever made as a filmmaker were the ones that completely fell apart. And I want to tell you why my failures are worth way more than anything good that I've made since. My first feature film, Last Chance, it was a crime thriller, shot part of it on an iPhone 11 Pro. It's basically a bunch of scenes stitched together. Objectively, it was bad. It was full of mistakes from technical to creative. But I did always consider it my film school, so I judged it as such. I subsequently jumped into my second feature film, a horror film titled Twisted. And the mistakes that I learned when it comes to sound on this one could probably be an entire curriculum's worth of learning. But still, Twisted, I looked at that as my film school thesis. There were a lot of variables to improve on from the first film, but a whole new set of challenges to grow from this second film when it finally was finished. Finally, in December of 2025 came what I'd consider my directorial feature film debut. Another crime thriller, this time titled Off the Record. And even then, with two feature films under my belt and years of experience and failures behind me, after some time spent building a rough cut earlier this year in post production, we still found mistakes, plot holes to fix on three critical character arcs. Arcs I thought I covered from a pre production standpoint when we were planning the shots in a montage sequence that we decided to go with in order to reveal a bunch of stuff at the movie. I don't want to give away anything that happens. But when it came down to the shoot and we saw the results, it just didn't land the way that we wanted. And now we're writing pickup shoots, rescheduling cast, rebuilding the cut to accommodate the new changes. But these changes couldn't have taken place without a system to analyze and improve. I'd just be spinning my wheels if I didn't. And that's why I developed the rehab framework. It's the system that I use to take a bird's eye view perspective, especially when I'm so close to the story and to the production itself. The first is R, recount it honestly. Look, you gotta swallow your pride. You gotta watch all of your stuff through with a fine tooth comb and perform a true self analysis. You gotta figure out what worked and, even more important, what broke down. Your failures. Now, once you isolate the breakdowns or your mistakes, next is to evaluate the breakdown. Figure out how you would do it all over again if you could. And then start coming up with creative solutions that you can improve the breakdown right now. Which brings us to H, hypothesize the fix. What can we do to prevent this on the next film? For sure, but that's another step. More importantly, how do we apply it to the current context? For A in the rehab framework. If you don't have the budget to redo it all, then figure out the budget and resources that you have left while also creating a guideline to follow for the next film so the same mistake doesn't happen twice. Taking us to our final step of B, build it into the system, your filmmaking system. So now you'll never make the same mistake twice. Look, the self taught filmmaker's advantage isn't that you fail less than someone who went to film school. It's that you've trained yourself out of necessity to treat every failure as curriculum, a mistake you'll never make again. No debt, no wasted semesters trying to figure things out, just pure data. So here's the question that I ask after every project that doesn't land the way that I intended. And to be honest, most should. What did this project teach me? That a successful version of it never would have? What did this teach me that success never would have? Answer that question honestly, and you just turn a failure into a rep. Film like you train, and I'll see you next week.